Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm Paul Werland. Thanks for joining us.
In this edition of APN, the presidential race is bringing out early voters for the first time in Arlington.
It's just an important election and it's been driving me pretty insane.
Plus, a revamped police station brings fingerprinting into the digital age.
And looking for a thrill? Trying to break out of jail in Arlington's own escape room. No fingerprinting required there. That and more next on Arlington Public News. Arlington residents are turning out in early voting. According to the Arlington Register of Voters, nearly 20% of those registered to vote have cast their ballots. 32,000 Arlington voters have the opportunity to choose their president early until November 4th. The Commonwealth joins 37 other states plus the District of Columbia in offering some sort of early voting other than absentee. And as APN found out, there's multiple reasons why so many have cast their votes already.
I'm here at Town Hall where early voting has started for the first time during the week of the 24th. The town clerk has high hopes for early voting in Arlington. Here's what residents have to say about it.
It's a great opportunity we have to vote. It's a responsibility. But I think it makes it more convenient for people who may be in a seminar or have to be out of town, or just, it makes it more approachable.
Anything that helps get people out to vote is a good thing. Now, Arlington's always been a good voting town, but anything that encourages people, anything that gets folks out to vote here is going to help the democratic process.
Oh, I think it's great. Anything that encourages people to vote, gives them more flexibility, it's wonderful. I can't stand waiting one more second. It's just an important election and it's been driving me pretty insane.
Terrific. Yeah, I'm leaving for work unavoidably, and so I won't have the opportunity to vote otherwise. So this allowed me to vote and have my opinion heard. Yeah, this was super easy. Yeah, much easier than an absentee ballot. I think I've done that before for the same reason, and this was much easier.
Early voting will take place at the Arlington Town Hall in the auditorium and will go until November 4th. Voting will take place during traditional business hours except for Fridays that close at noon. For Arlington Public News, I'm Heather Pearson.
Of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th, with polling locations in Arlington open from 7 in the morning until 8 at night.
On to government news in this week's Snapshot, where the focus is on schools and attracting business. APN's Heather Pearson joins us from the studio now with more. Heather?
Thanks, Paul. Arlington hires a new economic development leader to focus on attracting and retaining business. Allie Carter has a strong background in working with local businesses after serving as executive director of Brighton Main Streets. She comes to Arlington at a time when a variety of citizens and businesses have expressed their opinions on empty storefronts in the town's most engaging areas. At her former position, Carter spurred economic development and even reduced vacancies by 13% in Brighton. Arlington's Planning and Community Development Department believes she will make a key addition to the town and its future plans. The Arlington School Committee meeting on October 27th focused on school updates, enrollment, and even teacher assistants in kindergarten classes. The Thompson School addition was overwhelmingly voted in favor of at the recent special town meeting. Because of the vote, the school committee wants to be proactive and move forward with the project as soon as possible. The Hardy School was discussed as having the highest enrollment growth in Arlington. However, the district will have a better sense in the next 2 years with what the school will need to run accordingly. The superintendent says she is happy with the teacher assistant program Arlington has in place for the year.
I'm not uncomfortable with the way we have it this year. It may be that what we will find is, again, you also don't know the chemistries or the needs of a particular class, and what can happen and does happen during the school year. Principal will say, this particular class really needs to have another, more support, and then we ask the teaching assistant if they're able to do it. So that will happen also.
Teacher assistants in those classes are based on the needs of the children, as well as the amount of anticipated enrollments. Back to you, Brenda.
Renovations to the Arlington Police Station have officially finished after 7 years. Police invited the public to the station recently to see the changes for themselves. APN's Heather Pearson toured the multi-million-dollar community safety building for a look at what's new.
Arlington's police station has undergone sweeping renovations. The three-phase process has modernized most of the station, from the lobby to the offices and even the holding cells.
We did all of the interior of the building, and we reconfigured a lot of the areas so it would better fit all of our staff as we've grown over the years. We wanted to create a safer environment for our police officers and for all of our visitors.
The lower level of the police station was reconfigured in order to better fit the needs of the officers.
We have a report writing room here on the right-hand side. We have a conference room with 8 seats that we can meet at daily. And then back here is our roll call room, or our EOC.
The updates include male and female overnight cells, temporary holding cells, and a new fingerprint scanner. Outside the station, a patio has been newly cemented and updated to make it more welcoming.
If you look out any time during the day, you'll see people eating lunch out there, reading the newspaper, walking around, getting their exercise.
I'm currently standing outside of Arlington's newly renovated police station, which shares its patio with the Cusack Terrace Senior Housing Unit.
Michael, who just he's a resident of Cusack Terrace, had a special interest in landscaping and flowers, so he took it upon himself to do a lot of the plantings, and we supported him here as well as Arlington Housing Authority, and some days you'd see him up to 5 hours a day out there.
That resident, Michael McGinty, says he is looking forward to next spring, when he can add more flowers with his wife and friends. As for now, both the police department and the residents of Cusack are happy with the convenient shared space. For Arlington Public News, I'm Heather Pearson.
Well, that terrace in the back, the courtyard between Cusack Terrace and the Community Safety Building, is just a great effort between the Arlington Housing Authority and the folks at the senior housing there as well. So looks pretty good.
It's a nice addition to Arlington. We're all glad it's finally finished. And you know, it's great that there's so many early voters that have turned out. We're hoping now that,
Surprising.
of course, that the overall voter turnout will be good. I think that's a good sign.
Certainly is. Well, up next, the Arlington International Film Festival screens several films. We hear from the stars of one of them. Up next.
And after being forced to move out of their longtime location, the Arlington Center for the Arts enthusiastically raises funds for their new building. You're watching Arlington Public News. Stay with us. After a one-year relocation to Cambridge, the 6th annual Arlington International Film Festival returned to where it belongs, taking up residence at the Capitol Theater for 4 days and nights at the end of October. Over 2,000 films were submitted for consideration this year, and the festival opened with a couple of award winners. The evening's feature film was Coach, in which the director, a Boston resident, chronicled the eventful tenure of a fellow Bostonian who, as a 27-year-old, found himself in charge of a professional team in the Chinese Basketball Association. This fish-out-of-water story really resonated with the audience, as did Stereotypes, which opened the program. Its subject is a potent art exhibition created by photographer Kevin Briggs, who challenges our notions of race, gender, sexual preference, and identity by making portraits of people with disparaging terms superimposed across their images. The film's strong impact was evident in the Q&A session that followed.
I found it jarring because I found it, is this going to provoke the wrong reaction? It's going to reinforce stereotypes.
I mean, it's a fair question. Like I said, at the 3 exhibitions that I've had this exhibit in the series in, I've only had, even with the response cards, 5 people who have expressed that same sentiment. If anything, I think it forces the viewer to look inward and see, what are my stereotypes? And that's something that a lot of the viewers have expressed in the response cards, that they said it made them look in the mirror and see, what are my weaknesses? Where are my stereotypes? And for myself, it was a very cathartic experience because I too had to look at myself and say, of these groups, what groups do I hold negative stereotypes towards? But I'm hoping that it'll at least open people's minds, because it's opened my mind, right? I had to look up those words. Unfortunately, some of those words I've used, some of those words I knew, I've heard and read. And I played football for 20 years, so being in the locker room, you hear a lot of things, right? You say a lot of things, and unfortunately, a lot of those words were used, etc. Not necessarily in a derogatory sense, but more in a joking manner. But it's, as you get older, you realize it's hurtful, it's impactful. So
A powerful experience for one and all.
An art center that was forced out of their longtime location now looks forward to a new facility. The Arlington Center for the Arts has been located at the Gibbs School for nearly 30 years, but the building needs to be reopened as a school for the town's sixth graders. ACA has since found a new home and are actively raising funds for it. APN Sajadi has more.
After much debate to determine the future of the Arlington Center for the Arts, the center finally celebrated the launch of their new capital campaign to renovate their new space with a ribbon-cutting event at Arlington Town Hall on Thursday, October 27th.
This is a beginning, and it's a great beginning, but it's not an ending, and we need to keep the momentum going straight through till the doors open on a great new ACA in a great new location. So the first thing I need is, I need your money. Okay, we got a future fund going, and the future fund, although it is for the future, the time to give is now.
There's reasons that people move to Arlington, but I think people stay in Arlington and they love living in Arlington because of organizations like the ACA.
While it is certain that the Arlington Center for the Arts has to move out of the Gibbs building by the end of June 2017, it falls on them to raise the money to ensure their transition into the new building. But all ACA members seem very positive towards achieving this goal. ACA hopes to raise half of their target $600,000 with public funding using the Massachusetts Cultural Council's Facilities Fund. The fund is a matching grant 1-to-1, so if the ACA raises $300,000, the other half may be funded by the Mass Cultural Council.
Although this is a large amount of money, together it's not a lot of money. We in November are going to be launching what we call the $33 campaign. We have a little over 18,000 households in Arlington, and we need to raise $600,000. What that means is if everybody in town, if every household in town sent us $33 in this envelope, that is $600,000. That's it. So I feel optimistic. I feel cautiously optimistic, I guess I want to say, that this is something that we together can do.
A year ago, August, so it's been over a year, was when we first got the news that there was a possibility that the Gibbs would be repurposed as a school due to the explosion in school-age children enrollment. We worked really hard, and I think the town worked hard to not make it an us versus them. It wasn't the Arlington Center for the Arts versus the school children having books and erasers and classrooms to study in, because school kids are part of our client population.
I think right now everybody at the Arlington Center for the Arts is 100% excited and on board with moving into this new future and thinking about the parts of the new space that might serve the community better. For example, we love the fact that it's in the same building with the Arlington Seniors, with the Council on Aging and the Seniors Association, and thinking about what kind of partnerships and collaborations are going to be possible with them.
The ACA has already raised over 1/5 of the money needed and is planning more fundraising events in January and April. For Arlington Public News, I'm Shaz Sajadi.
You know, it's so great that the Arlington Center for the Arts is staying right here in town. I know they were a little bit concerned for a while that they wouldn't be able to find a home right here in Arlington, but they did, and it's a great resource that's staying right here in town. So
That's great, and they've got a great location at the Central School where the Senior Center is also housed.
Middle schoolers' faces are plastered on school walls, but it's not graffiti. We'll tell you how it's celebrating diversity next.
And then Halloween came to Arlington. We'll show you some of the celebrations from around town. That and more coming up next.
Larger than life-size pictures of adolescents hang on the outside of Ottoson Middle School. They're meant to help children celebrate their individuality. The project came about after racially motivated incidents at the school. Students from Ottoson are excited by the project. We have more now from student-produced Ottoson News Network.
I'm Daniel with Ottoson News Network and Arlington Public News. Today, we're here at the Ottoson Inside Out Project unveiling. This project is showcasing Ottison's diversity. It was organized by Alicia Serafini, Polly Ford, and Kaylee Makeda, and the Arlington Education Foundation. Let's take a look around.
I love the project. I think the project is visual installation of hundreds of photographs of the diversity that we have here at Ottoson and the social connectedness that we are fostering in the school community.
The purpose of the Inside Out Ottoson project was to bring awareness to all of the people that make up the Ottoson and celebrate the diversity that we have here. And I think it did that.
Do you like how it turned out?
Yeah, I think it brought the awareness to the public and to the community. I think the students are questioning it and what it's about, and that's making a conversation happen, and that's exactly what we wanted.
I am thrilled with the project. It's actually even better than I imagined it would be, and today's party is just a great testament to how the community has gotten behind us.
At the end of last school year and over the summer, there were several incidents that caused distress in this community. There was the racist and anti-Semitic graffiti here at Ottoson, but there was also swastikas painted on a black family's garage, a Confederate battle flag displayed close to another black family's home, and a threatening anti-Semitic flyer left in a Jewish family's mailbox. In response, 50 Arlington residents came to talk with us at the Human Rights Commission meeting in July. It was an amazing outpour of concern and support, and together we brainstormed how to come together as a community to show that love is more powerful than hate. Everyone felt that we should be looking out for our neighbors, but that we often wouldn't even recognize our neighbors if we saw them in the grocery store. Everyone's busy and we don't take the time to introduce ourselves individually. So we need more opportunities to gather and to get to know each other, because getting to know each other breaks down fear and mistrust and makes it possible to recognize when there are problems so that we can step in and help.
I'm Daniel from Ottoson News Network and Arlington Public News, signing off from the Inside Out Project. It was a great turnout.
Arlington High School sports are doing great this season. It's time to look ahead now. We speak to the athletic director who has the details.
So this is the time where we start to figure out who's going to be continuing on in state tournament. Volleyball and field hockey are on the cusp of making it. Boys and girls soccer have qualified. Golf qualified as a team for the first time in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Swimming's had a lot of individual qualifiers. They are currently have a winning record, which is the first time in years that they've accomplished that. So it's an exciting time.
While the police station unveils their new jail cells, one pair of business partners are utilizing the old jail in Arlington, located on Central Street. The building has since housed a variety of offices, but one business is capitalizing on the cells with a particularly tricky escape game. APN's Rachel Campana has more.
You've been found guilty of a crime and sentenced to death. Normally this would be horrific news, but in this case it's exhilarating. You are in one of the jail cells at Amaze Escape, an immersive escape experience located in the heart of Arlington. Opened in the summer of 2015, Amaze Escape owners Shu Chan and Jim Chen searched for the perfect location for their own escape room.
We came across the space that was available for rental, and we thought it would be ideal for an escape game. This building, up until 1983, was the Arlington Police Station until they moved to Mystic. So there's still 2 jail cells in this building, and we're using those for our game room.
But it's not as easy as breaking a lock and opening the door. The room has numerous puzzles that need to be solved with red herrings along the way to misdirect you.
So the objective is to escape from the jail cell. They have 60 minutes to accomplish that goal. They have to work together. It's a team building exercise. There's a series of puzzles, riddles, clues they have to put together and decipher in order to advance and achieve their objective.
The game itself is 60 minutes long, but Amaze Escape also includes a pre-escape meeting and a post-game debriefing. But never fear the impenetrable jail door. In case of an emergency, Amaze Escape has some fail-safes implemented, including a game master who is always watching.
We also have a game master. We have one game master for the room. His job is to monitor and help with game progress.
But this game isn't for everyone. Players must be over the age of 14 and willing to set aside their phones for an hour.
Most players have a very positive experience. Will not fail. It's ultimately about the group bonding experience.
For team building opportunities or a fun night out, Amaze Escape is guaranteed to challenge you and your teammates. Although only 25% of guests solve the puzzles on their first try, many guests willingly return for a second chance in the cells. For Arlington Public News, I'm Rachel Campana.
The owners of Amaze Escape are opening a second room in the same building and should be opening by the end of the year.
Costumed children of Arlington took to the streets on Halloween looking for something sweet. A handful of Arlington stores participated in the tradition by displaying a visible poster on their front doors. Shops on Mass Ave, Broadway, and even our own studio here on Park Ave were among the businesses that invited children to come trick-or-treating. They were in our television studios having some fun and playing with the green screen. As you can see, the results were a success, and the kids all smiles. Well, it really was great to see the kids hamming it up there in front of the green screen and being in different scary locations. So it was a great thing that they have here for, in Arlington Heights for the businesses. The kids come trick-or-treating.
I want to know what's happened to all the leftover candy.
I know.
Is there still some
I didn't
left?
have any left over at our house. So many kids.
Thank you for joining Arlington Public News as we explore events and issues affecting Arlington. Check out extended interviews and our latest segments on the web at news.acmi.tv.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Arlington Public.
I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Brenda Mahoney. Thanks for joining us.